Good evening and welcome to the City University campus for round 17 NPL women's action. It is a wet one in Camperdown here tonight, but we're all set for action as the teams get underway as Sydney Uni continue to try and stay within touching distance of the top four. Meanwhile, the Western City Rangers are keen to pick up some all-important club championship points as they currently sit bottom and in the automatic relegation spot. And I'll have to do it with a win on the road tonight. And as the ball goes out of play, we can take this moment to run you through some team news. Will Constantinides here for you at the Sydney University campus. As we take a look at the team, starting first with Sydney Uni. They're on a bit of a dip in form in recent times. We'll come back to that thought. Meanwhile, Trudy Camilleri has possession, looking to find Alfarage. Almost did so. Her speed is a great threat. Meanwhile, Talia Sandbrook is down in back play for Sydney Uni. They are going to have to defend this as that blazes over the bar. And so Sandbrook is back down. That shot coming from Catalina Wazinski. Of course, both the Wazinski sisters starting on either side for the Western City Rangers here tonight. And with this break in play, we can now run you through that team. You're starting first with Sydney Uni. They are, unfortunately, on a bit of a winless run. No wins in their last 5, but they've played some tough games in that stretch and picked up some good points along the way, including a 1-1 draw against UNSW at UNSW and a 1-1 draw away to Cromer. Those aren't particularly easy places to go and play, but included in that mix was the 2-3 loss last week against Sydney Olympic. That was here at home. And so here is how they line up today. Number 4 is Talia Sandbrook. Number 6, Juliet Harris. Number 8, Madison Van Dyke. Number 9, Poppy Tay. Number 19, Noor Hijazi. Number 20, Hughes. Number 24, Xanthi Juric. Number 28, Isabella Rad. Number 30, Grace Cho Triganza, who actually is making her first start in first grade here tonight. So a big congratulations to her. Scarlett Gray continues in goal. That's her fourth straight start in between the sticks. And number 39 is Asha Sutton. As for the Western City Rangers, they are on an 8 straight loss streak coming into today's game. Yet to keep a clean sheet this season. Yet to pick up a win away from home. And they know now with Spirit's uptick in form that Spirit have leapfrogged them on the club championship, making points an absolute need. And so here is how they line up today. Number 7, Alex Ewan. Number 8 is Jarrell Buttress. Number 12, Miriam Mostagimi. Number 13, Catalina Wazinski. Number 14, Chloe Gordon. Number 16, Chelsea Barden. Number 17, Adelaide Wazinski. Number 20, Kira Hastings. Number 33, Rukaya Alfarage. Number 57, Trudy Camilleri. And in goal is number 88, Renee Kristanovska. There's no way through on that far side. Tay looking to get free of Mostagimi and does have the speed to get around her. That's a great challenge by Mostagimi, and Chelsea Barden is up across to help her out. Sydney Uni, meanwhile, playing with 10 as captain Talia Sandbrook is now back onto the pitch and has to make her way across what is a fairly muddy surface. Seen a day's worth of games here today. Hughes forcing Chloe Gordon to backtrack and play that out of play. Looks like there has been a change to the team sheet for Sydney Uni. Sarah Farrow in that number 12 jersey starting at right back. I'll have to do a bit of subtraction here as to who is out of the lineup. Meanwhile, Sydney Uni have this throw. Tay was the target. Good touches by the starting debutant, Cho Triganza. Back with Sandbrook. Slides that across the surface. Hastings. Tay has found a bit of room to work with. Poppy Tay. Now she's on the edge of the area, but she's muscled off it by Alex Swin. Good defending. Alfarage has gone behind the defence, has green pastures ahead of her. Camilleri is up ahead in support. It will get to Camilleri, but just trips at the vital moment through everything are trying to get there. And the game is already so open inside 5 minutes as Uni quickly race away down the other end. Asher Sutton and Poppy Tay unable to link up, but Sydney Uni can regain possession. They'll be wary of the threat that Western City Rangers do pose. Sutton with the cross, it deflects out, and first quarter of the game will go the way of the hosts. And last time these two teams met, it was a pretty dramatic win for the Western City Rangers. That was back in March with Vasiliadis scoring in the 93rd minute to take out a 2-1 win for the Rangers at Popondetta. Rangers actually have the better of the matchup in their short history meeting each other. This is just the fourth time these two teams have met in the NPL Women's. Rangers with 2 wins. High looping cross. That's put in by Sandbrook, was unorthodox, but it almost worked out for Sydney Uni. They may have been searching for Cho Treganza on the edge of the area, but Talia Sandbrook with an outside of the foot volley was trying to put it back into the mixer for someone to get onto. A bit of controlled possession here is Hastings. Hughes taking it off her. Will be last touch off Hastings. And there's a bit of confusion. Farrow will take this throw. It's Farrow down the line for Tay. Farrow flicked around by Hughes. Rad battling for possession, loses out to Hastings, but wins it promptly back. It's been pinched in midfield, but Chotragans are able to screen off Trudy Camilleri. Sandbrook lasering a pass out to the wing. It will get there, Hijazi. Looks like it is actually Noor Hijazi, who is the player that has been taken out of the starting lineup in place of Farrow. Now, question of offside. Rad arced her run, but was unable to time it to perfection. He's just on the near side with the flag immediately up, but there is a lot of open space on this Sydney Uni pitch. Teams that come here know that the wings and in behind there will be gaps, especially as the game gets stretched. We've not even played 10 minutes, and both teams are looking to exploit that space. Faraje has possession. Swung across to Adelaide Wazinski. Faraje, low-driven cross. Camilleri swiveling in the box. Couldn't create the shooting angle. And now there's a potential counter here brewing for Uni. There is Maddie Caspers. Is that cross? Madison Van Dyke, I should say. Maddie Caspers not in the starting lineup today. Was in the starting lineup last week. Madison Van Dyke in the number 8 jersey. Chance for Sydney Uni just to reset a little bit. The Rangers have thrown a couple of interesting moves at them. Rad tries to play the overlap with Juliet Harris. Rangers see that out of play. Barden has it back at her feet. Now Faraje twisting through midfield, and now the Rangers can switch it to this side of the pitch. Now they do so. Catalina Wazinski. Control that's made to work here. Rangers still have it. Buttress will stay at the feet of the Rangers. touched in by Karolina Wazinski to Alfarage, but there's just too many blue and gold shirts around her as Madison Van Dyke tussles with Alfarage, but has possession, does play it out of play, so we'll be back with the Rangers. Hastings. Chotraganza intercepts. Bit of confusion. It's back with Buttress. Gordon in space and able to turn. Gives Barton a look further up ahead. Gordon receiving it back. Now with Mike Swin. Rangers moving it side to side, trying to create these gaps as Karolina Wazinski has it poked away, but to no real benefit for Sydney Uni. Clearance is slightly awkward, but it might fall here for Sutton as Gordon doing a great job of just screening the midfield, stopping Xanthi Juric from taking over. Here is Miriam Mustagimi. Mustagimi is unfortunately no stranger to a bit of a relegation scrap, was part of that Bankstown City side that did drop down on club championship. It's a tussle for possession. Play continues though, and Alfarage has a big touch up ahead into space. Has numbers in the box. Alfarage gets to the byline, cutting it back for Camilleri, and the shot or cross was looking for someone. The angle was shut down by Uni, and now Sydney Uni might think about creating a counter-attack themselves here. But Quinn steps in to intervene. Buttress. Camilleri goes in strongly. You just see the Rangers have a bit about them today. They can sense that something might be coming, and they do get a free kick in a advanced position. Of course, this is one of a few NPL women's games happening at the moment. Meanwhile, Manly United have taken the early lead against RPL Leichhardt. Now this is a great opportunity for Camilleri. Deep free kick. Lost that in and hangs it up towards the back post. There's good contact on it too. Alex Swin charging through. And it was a perfectly placed free kick from Trudy Camilleri. Of course, has represented the country in futsal. Coming across to the Rangers from UNSW over the off-season, has had a pretty proficient season, is critical to what the Rangers do, has missed just one of their previous 16 games, has started all but two. Here is Buttress. Adelaide Wyszynski was the target over the top, but a little too heavy. But the Rangers are very much encouraged about what they're seeing on the sideline at the moment. Coach John Sarukas in the box. Sydney Uni will be keen just to have the ball back at their feet again. They waste no time trying to turn the Rangers' defence around, but that's a great touch by Mustagimi and just definitely puts it down for Alex Wynn. Here's Karolina Wyszynski, Chloe Gordon, and Hastings. You see the Rangers, when they do have the ball at their feet, their wingers push up so high, both Adelaide and Karolina Wyszynski giving so much width. Just the two in midfield with Buttress and Chloe Gordon, they have a very important job in that pivot role. And they'll be certainly tested tonight on the wide expanses of Sydney Uni campus. Meanwhile, Uni are on the attack. Juric's shot is blocked, and Alfarage might think about taking it herself here. Isn't short of a gallop, Rukai Alfarage. Camilleri is there in support, but there's not too many others. And so Chelsea Barton is the safe option, but it's been given away by Rangers. Joe Draganza across to Ellen Hughes. And so they can swing it around the back here. Sydney Uni. Farrow keeps the move going, and Kira Hastings has that covered on Poppy Tay. Rad still somehow has possession despite having a couple of Rangers defenders for company. Does keep that in, but there's a bit of confusion. It still works out. Farrow, that's a great ball in too. Just turned out of two defenders there with such composure there. And almost created something out of nothing. And now as Rangers don't have the ball, you'll see them sit back into that 2 blocks of 4 at a 4-4-2. Side that has conceded the second most goals in the competition. Defence will be certainly a priority against one of the better attacks we have in the NPL women's. Scoring goals has not been an issue for Sydney Uni this season. And as Adelaide Wyszynski moves that on for Alfarage. Rangers fighting this right-hand side with a bit of success. Alfarage turns inside and gets to the byline, puts a good ball in, but it's held, and it had to be from Scarlett Gray because the Rangers were queuing up, waiting for any spills or bobbles. But again, it's that right side proving to be very fruitful right now for the Rangers. Back at the feet of Talia Sandbrook, now Sarah Farrow. Rad will chase this down. Kristanovska had the awareness to let it roll in. Quinn and Miriam Mostagimi. Barden. Adelaide Wyszynski has gotten the other side of Xanthe Juric. The Rangers again looking dangerous. Tried the spectacular there, did Adelaide Wyszynski. Didn't quite come off. Coach John Sarukis on the sideline is very impressed with this first 17 and a half minutes from the Rangers, and why wouldn't he be? They've had more of the ball in the opposition half. They've been consistently creating opportunities. Adelaide Wyszynski now coming more and more into the game. This is her 4th straight start, just her 6th appearance of the season. Was a really important part of their side last year that went on to make the Sapphire Cup final. And a bit of a stint in college before coming back to Australia to play for the Rangers, and now Poppy Tay has been a couple of defenders, and still Poppy Tay, and that would have been a spectacular solo run. Though would have had to have beat 4 or 5 Rangers defenders to get through. Here is Catalina Wyszynski. Early pass ahead to Rakaya Alfarage, and it's found her intended target. Alfarage was maybe expecting a touch to be a little heavier than it actually was. She was still in the play there. Tay. Good turn on midfield by Madison Van Dyke. As Harris sprays it wide. Xanthe Juric has Asher Sutton ahead of her. Cross comes in, but won't trouble Kristanovska. Rangers have had trouble starting games this season, especially in these last couple of months. They've been first to concede in 8 of their last 10 coming into today's fixture. They've been behind at half-time in 4 of their last 5. Squin giving it over straight to Cho Treganza. Van Dijk now with Tay. They're looking for that switch, but it was far too close to Chelsea Barden. So they have started certainly very brightly here. Tonight have the Western City Rangers looking to do the double on Sydney Uni this season. As mentioned, they have a good record against Uni. They've won 2 of their 3 meetings, and now Katalina Wyszynski is racing away into space and will get there. Shapes the cross, decides against it. Camilleri and Wyszynski. Hastings. Early crosses in, and it's deflected away. That may have taken a touch off a Sydney Uni defender, and it did. And so the Rangers have their first corner of the game. What can they do from this position now? They might think about going quickly here. Camilleri has shown short. Playing it back to Alfarage. Now it's played towards the penalty spot, but doesn't clear the first defender. And Poppy Tay, she can hold her run here, might be in behind, but wasn't spotted. The attack breaks down for Uni. And so far the Rangers have had plenty of answers for what Sydney Uni have thrown at them. Interestingly, all 3 of these teams' previous meetings have ended 2-1. So it could be set for a tight, thrilling contest. The last 2 games have all ended in winners in the last 5 minutes or stoppage time. Quinn. Hastings. Wyszynski back to Hastings. Cleared out over the sideline by Talia Sandbrook. Hastings launches that into the corner. Almost finds its way through. Adelaide Wyszynski has come across to help out on this near side. Camilleri bringing it down in traffic. Back with Catalina Wyszynski off the back of Madison Van Dijk as Poppy Tay comes back to defend and has it back again. Here is Poppy Tay. Finds space in Sutton, but the pass was slightly behind her, so Sydney Uni may have to restart. Asher Sutton wants to go forward though. Catalina Wyszynski coming across to the Rangers in the mid-season. Joining from the Western Sydney Wanderers. Played her first game for the Western City Rangers actually against the Wanderers a week after leaving them. Started each of the last 7 games as Catalina Wyszynski has, since coming across from the Wanderers, has certainly benefited from the extra game time. Alfarage has just moved across to that wing. It looks like Adelaide Wyszynski has now joined Trudy Camilleri, and Wyszynski is the target. Juric giving pursuit, does get there ahead. Sydney Uni have mostly had possession in this sort of area in their own defensive and midfield third. Rangers have stopped those sort of passes as they've just done there. Sutton is twisting and turning, looking for support ahead, but has to go backwards. 25 minutes gone. Not too many major chances. Rangers have probably had the slightly better looks at goal. Here's Grace Cho-Chagranza. Has looked fairly comfortable in her first 25 minutes in her starting debut. Has made a handful of appearances off the bench this season. 18-year-old midfielder. But with Sydney Uni coming into this one 10 points off the finals places, this is an important game for them to win, especially if Apia are to drop points. That gap would cut to 7 if they are to win today, but they have to worry about Trudy Camilleri getting behind. And the ball just skips away on the damp surface. And so it will be a Sydney Uni throw. Quinn. Her and Mostagimi have locked things down defensively. Credit must go to the midfield as well. These passing lanes have been impenetrable for Sydney Uni. The Rangers have done a good job taking care of the ball when they have it too. Here is Chloe Gordon. Adelaide Wazinski has Chelsea Barton on the overlap. Early cross is in. Talia Sandbrook makes the clearance and Sydney Uni have it to feet once more. Into the feet of Poppy Tay, having to play with her back to goal and is a little bit isolated at the moment and in need of some support. They might think about moving forward here. It's with Tay. 3-on-2 for Sydney Uni. With Van Dyke, left it behind her though. They actually had Ellen Hughes a bit more space on the right side. Wazinski picks the pocket of Sutton. And Sutton returns the favour by winning back possession. It's been a real struggle for supremacy in the middle of the park. Both teams wanting to keep it to feet. Hughes gets away from Camilleri. Hastings is coming as the second defender. That's a good ball in as well. Rad couldn't angle the header, and Chelsea Barton hooks it up towards Alfarage. Another wave of Sydney Uni attack is coming. And in what has so far been a very tight game, chances are a bit of a rarity as Barton couldn't quite keep that in. Alfarage gets the second ball, is tussling with, that's Madison Van Dyke who took the knock. Good turn in midfield by Cho Traganza, looking to switch towards this left side. That's a fantastic pass by Harris, has freed up Urich. Looking for Tay. Couldn't keep her header down. Well, that's much better from a Sydney Uni perspective there. They were patient in possession, moved the ball wide early and had an accurate cross to finish the move. And Poppy Tay certainly having her best season in NPL Women's First Grade, up to 7 goals in all competitions this campaign. Has already equalled her best previous tally, although this is a season where she has played significant more first grade minutes. She's really adept at getting behind defenses and creating havocs with her speed, but also has added a bit more of that back to goal element. Can be brought into play and build up, and has had to do so with Sydney Uni finding themselves in their own half quite a lot, as they are now. With Chelsea Barden, another former Western Sydney Wanderer. There's a few of them in this Rangers team. There is one that played for the A-League side in Alex Wynn. Catalina Wazinski, last touch off her. Farrow launches that towards Tay. Quinn is across the cover and is composed in possession. The pass only goes to a Sydney Uni player though, and that means Rad has it. And it looks like Hughes knew she was offside, and as Farrow tried to find her. So about 15 minutes to go here in this first half. No huge chance just yet, but both teams have been slowly but surely building into the contest as it's gone on. Sandbrook. Harris has had that trademark crossfield switch to Urich or Sutton a couple of times. This time they go back towards the right. You just see the ball sort of dies in its momentum when it hits this wet turf. Tay with the right idea with Sutton, but the Rangers read it, and now they might think about a counter of their own. Gordon. Camilleri beaten to it by Farrow. Camilleri is giving chase here. Forces the error. Catalina Wazinski takes it. Urich stopping Adelaide Wazinski for any further progress down the right wing. Rangers are going to slow things down a little bit. It's Uni's turn to drop into their banks of four. Buttress recycling possession. There's space on this left side if the Rangers can find it. Instead they go back towards the right. Too close though to Xantha Urich from Quinn. Second ball falls the way of the Rangers. Alfaraje to use that right flank again. Still with Rakaya Alfaraje. Trying to force her way down that side. Eventually Sutton comes back to help out her defense. And has initially won her side a foul, but won her side a throw-in, I should say. The Rangers do get the corner, their second of the game. Same on that near side. They went short on the previous attempt. Camilleri and Alfaraje combining out of the corner. So we'll see what the Rangers cook up from this set piece. Trudy Camilleri to take here. I dare say this one will go straight into the box. There are numbers around Scarlet Grey in goal. Mustagimi and Alfaraje trying to get in front of her. It's drilled towards the edge of the area, but Chelsea Barden has to backtrack to get to the ball. It's now with Chloe Gordon, who winds up a strike. It takes a big deflection. As Cho Treganza just calmly plays backwards, and that allows Uni to go forward with a bit more intent. Here is Tay, has Swin on her back, and has got on the other side of her. Poppy Tay looking for some support. It's a good ball towards the penalty spot, And Sutton's shot was blocked. And a timely block too from Kira Hastings. And you can just see Poppy Tay there getting the other side of Quinn and picking out a good pass. Actually looks like they may have swapped their wing backs, have they? Rangers, no. Looks like Barton and Hastings are still on either side. Just goes to show how far back Hastings had to get to with Chloe Gordon. Quinn driving forward and now plays that pass. Is asking Hastings to get there. It might just sit up for her. Hastings. Back inside to Gordon. Rangers reset. 11 behind the ball right now for Sydney Uni. Having to defend rather constantly in this first half. Adelaide Wazinski. Again, there's just too many blue and gold shirts. They flood the numbers. Alfaraje. Barton stepping in. Cho Truganza brings it down. Hughes. And now Rad has gotten behind, has the speed, and now is looking to create the shot. And that's a fantastic solo goal. She did it all on her own. A fantastic strike from Isabella Rad. Just seemingly came out of nothing. The second phase ball initially from Hughes behind, and Rad was the only player from Sydney Uni that was not giving up on the play, and then turned her defender inside and out onto her right foot and finessed it into the bottom corner. And so Sydney Uni take the lead here at home, and it's a goal that maybe, just maybe, will draw them closer to the top four, with Apia currently dropping points. That means on the live ladder, Sydney Uni would be 7 points away from fourth. Off the back of that goal from Isabella Rad, you could just see once she got to top speed, she had one thing on her mind. That is goal number 7 in all competitions for her. It's her first since way back in round 9. Started the season quite brightly with 6 goals in her first 9 games. She's come off the boil a little bit, but that was a real striker's finish there. Had one thing on her mind once she had possession. Van Dijk getting away from Rakaya Alfaraje. Sutton. Now it's with Rad. Ostagimi sweeps the defence and sends that over the sideline. It's a timely goal for Sydney Uni. Just as the Rangers were consistently starting to create some pressure, they get one back. And so the wait for the first clean sheet for the Rangers this season goes on. And again, they have conceded first in a game. Quinn asking a bit too much of Hastings. Tay asking for someone to be there on the edge of the box. That usually would have been Rad, but she had committed a cross as Van Dijk cleanly wins it back. Rad rides the initial challenge. Gives it to Hughes. Early cross is seen away. So Sydney Uni get a corner now. Chance for Uni to get a couple in quick succession here. Sensing an opportunity could be coming. Looks like Sutton will deliver this. It's a high looping left-footed delivery. It's headed in. And Sydney Uni get goals in a span of 5 minutes. And the fans are up and about here at the campus. It's Sarah Farrow that rose highest. That is her first goal in first grade this season. Has scored one in the 23s. Perfectly placed cross from Sutton. Put it right onto that danger spot in that 6-yard area. Farrow has put it up ahead. Rod is thinking about a third. And Sydney Uni are playing with some freedom right now. And this has to feel like a bit of a crushing blow for the Rangers. They were consistently creating chances and were looking good, especially down either wing, but just unable to make it count. And Sydney Uni have really put things together on that end of the pitch. As I've had the opportunity to check back through the statistics, that is Sarah Farrow's first goal in NPL women's first grade. And so a massive congratulations to her. As mentioned, just a rare start for her this season. And she has repaid the faith with the goal. It was a great header too, made good contact on it. So Xavier Taylor will be especially impressed with how his team have had to ride the wave a little bit defensively. They've come out the other side and have got this 2-0 advantage. And in a game where big chances have been sort of hard to come by, Rangers might think about a response. Farage. Deflection out. They'd like one quickly before halftime, wouldn't they, the Rangers? Let's try and eat into this 2-goal deficit. They're going to put numbers right around Scarlet Grey. This will be a test for the keeper. You can see basically every Rangers player, bar a couple, are inside the 6-yard box. Deliveries towards the near post. It takes a bounce. It's looping over. Wasn't troubling Grey. As Camilleri watches her shot blaze over the bar. Maybe just one final check of the live scores around the grounds. It's still Manly United that lead by a goal to nil, which will be welcome news for Sydney Uni as they look to break their winless run. Hughes has found Chocha. Grounds are in midfield. She takes a touch into space, and the overlap is there for Xanthe Juric. Barton stops any further progress. So into the final minute of this first half. This may be the last action of it for Sydney Uni. Gordon now with Alfarage. Gordon, good feet to keep it and good balance as well with her momentum taking her the other way. As Hastings will have to get here. Wazinski. Catalina Wazinski, that is. Have to differentiate between the two. As it's in an awkward spot here. And Sydney Uni eventually clear it away, but only as far as Buttress. Tay links up with Rod and has a look over that left shoulder to see what's ahead of her. Decides to take matters into her own hands. It's still with Poppy Tay. Tay looking to get to that cut-back position. Drops it short instead. Hughes floating it in. It might fall here for Rod. Tried the fancy header, and Rangers there were caught out of their defensive structure with Poppy Tay going on a bit of a solo run for the best part of 50 metres. Rod would have been within her rights there to just bring that down. There wasn't a defender within a 3-metre radius of her. Would have had time to take a touch and shoot, but for how close she was to the goal and for how long the ball was in the air. Tried the flick header over the top. Would have been a spectacular second goal. Has scored a pair of braces this season, has Isabella Rod. Last time she scored, coincidentally, was in that 6-0 win against Spirit FC. Scored a brace then. And the previous time she scored was against Hills. That was also a brace. And so that's all we have for in the first half. Sydney Uni have raced out to a 2-goal lead thanks to Isabella Rad's solo strike, followed up by Farrow's header from the corner to get her first goal as an NPL women's first grade player. And so it means that the hosts have that 2-goal advantage at the break. And we'll see you back soon on the other side of this one. I've been Will Constantinides. Don't go anywhere, because it's Sydney Uni 2, Western City Rangers 0.
Still with Head. Now for Tanae Morris. Back to Ellie Head. And the Tigers take the lead here at North Taramura. Delivering towards back post. Swatted away by Grove. Jackson puts it back in, and then Gentle.
Lookmeyer into the 6-yard box. It's broken the hands of the keeper and followed in by Amber Lookmeyer. And an early goal for Bulls. They set the tone. Cash breaks away with the ball. Through the right for Gooch. Trying to cut inside here. Lara Gooch, left-footed shot is a pearler. What a good goal. And Lara Gooch equalises for Spirit. Finds the run of Valletta. Valletta onto her right side, hoping for Lookmeyer. And Lookmeyer squeezes it in. Persistence pays. And the golfing celebration, as has become. Waits in goal. It's Halmerick, and it's a good penalty. Goalkeeper out of the equation, stepping in the opposite direction. Advances to the edge of the box. It's Ella Abdul-Masih. What a good strike. Here's a chance for Phillips. Lays it off to Lookmeyer. This is for the hat-trick. And she's got it. And now Abdul-Masih And the strike from Halberet. Too much power. And it's burst through to put... Hunter with a sweeping cross. Barwick-Gray! Liz Barwick-Gray with a stoppage time equaliser for the ball.
From Lakeland's Oval, my name is Paletti. Absolute pleasure. As UNSW looking to get an early chance here. Chloe Smith takes a shot and inside the opening minute. Middleton, Gerard, Adelaide Thompson having to spin and turn. Middleton takes a shot. It's gone through. Off a deflection there from some... Corner whipped in. Headed on target. Let's go. Goal UNSW. Corner whipped in. Blocked on the line. Crosses the line. UNSW make it 3-1.
Moments. Letter threatening. Mifsud really stood firm there. Back towards Fonsong Cam. Fantastic. And vital to this team. Fragale, Letter, lovely ball and lovely finish. 2 to the good. Casa, brilliant work, and Bobbin! And Morgan Roberts into the air. It's a nice ball, Sanago. What a wonderful goal! Oh, turnover. This is trouble. Because off and away is Adams. And Camus does the rest. As I stumble my words, is off and away again. Oh, nice ball. Flags down. Camus. Goal. Now this could be danger. Allen into the area. Camus is free. Allen to Camus and taps it in. Oh, that's nearly stuck through. It has. And that's 5. And absolute perfection. Nothing Claire Harder could do about that.
Not there. That is the talent you have from Mary Stenich Floody. Long shot rebounding off the underside of the crossbar. Simultaneously, as Kashaba's just won this round and Inside is just going to tap that into the back of the net. Plus Inside, she's got Zamaya out to her right, and that's where she goes through to Alyssa Inside again. 2 goals in the second half. Natali up against Garrett, through to Inside. And just under the side of the crossbar, and that's gone in! There to Everin Tavares. Sayino looking to get the shot away, and there you go, Sayino with the second of her match.
In swinger. And it's a flying header, and it's in. And Olympic have drawn first blood. Whipped in, it's high, and it's a chance and it's a goal. And that one is definitely a goal scored by an Olympic player. Looks to be Baxter Thew, who rose highest. Beaten in 2 plays in the middle. Goes for a tight shot from a tight angle. And now Casper Shorley. It's put over the line, I think, by Poppy Tay. He'll get the credit. And moved right. Long range effort from Witts. And it's flying in. What a strike from Morgan Witts to make it 3-1. She had facing a 2-goal deficit once more. Hijazi might even get a touch here. I think she will. The cutback opportunity. It's gone in. So there we go. It's 3-2. It's another own goal. And how about that for an impact sub? Noor Hijazi running in.
last night? Oh, yeah. Where were you last night? Were you here? Oh, Moorebank, yeah. That's bad. I guess. Was that SB Raiders, man? I saw some phone videos from that. Yeah, ridiculous. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Welcome back to the second half here at the Sydney University campus. It is Sydney Uni that lead 2-0 over the Western City Rangers thanks to Isabella Rad's bottom corner effort and Sarah Farrow's header. It has Sydney Uni still within touching distance of the finals as this young team that has by and large been produced by the Sydney Uni system. A lot of young players in this team that have been coached by Xavier Taylor through the ranks. And they are sitting in that 5th position right now on the ladder, which is certainly exceeding a lot of the initial expectations that many outsiders had for this team as they try and get back in to the winner's circle. It's been 5 games since their last win, and through 45 minutes of football, they are certainly playing pretty well as the Rangers are in need of a bit of positivity as Sutton has taken it off Hastings and has space ahead of her. Sutton, still with Asher Sutton, puts a good ball in, but it's taken away by Gordon. Rangers will try and prevent the corner here. Hastings is met by Rad, and Sydney Uni have it in an advanced position. Urich early crosses in, but Rangers are there, and now they have numbers getting forward. Catalina Wazinski on the far side. Instead, they come towards the right with Adelaide Wazinski. Dragging inside towards the centre of the pitch. Gets away from the first defender, but can't beat the second. There's Rad. That's a fantastic touch to take it over the defender, but Mostagimi is across the cover. Farrow. Good interception, but the pass will just roll its way slowly. It won't go out of play. It'll stop dead before the line. And so Chelsea Barton has to play that ahead. Van Dijk. Urich. Sutton is able to turn and skips away from the first challenge. Sutton still has it, but Hastings has recovered and has beaten for her for the second time. Still with Sutton, and still Asher Sutton. And that was another one of those solo runs from the Sydney Uni forwards. That time Asher Sutton, with a quick turn of speed around halfway, and able to take it all the way to the byline and almost wriggled free of the defenders. And that tenacious work has earned her side a corner. So Sydney Uni scored from their previous corner. Farrow with the header. It's a great ball in, and they almost crashed through again. I think it was Farrow who was racing through, making good contact again with the ball. As Tay is trying to beat the defence to this one. And these Sydney Uni corners are looking very threatening right now, as there was a foul in the mix, so Rangers will restart with this deep free kick. Cho Treganza intercepts, but the Rangers can try and turn around the defence here as Harris is being pressured by Alfaraja, and that pressure pays off because the Rangers have a throw in the attacking third. This next goal crucial for the Rangers to try and create this comeback. As mentioned during the broadcast, this is coming into this game, their 8th straight loss. They have actually made a substitution at half-time. We'll keep you updated on what the change was specifically. Meanwhile, though, it's Rangers that have it. Looks like it is Charlotte Page-Johnson out there at left back. Chelsea Barton has dropped into centre back. Alex Swin is now off the pitch, looking at that back four. Alfaraje is isolated on this wing, is waiting for some options to arrive, and she's getting into it in this near corner. Now creates the cross, but Sydney Uni stand in the way. Alfaraje. This time with a bit more room to work with, but the cross is the same result. And I think there's maybe a slight coming together there, because Asher Sutton was, well, not Asher Sutton, rather Xanthe Juric was holding at her mouth. Just sort of stopped dead. And as Camilleri plays it wide for Catalina Wazinski, and now here is Johnson. That's a good ball in too towards Camilleri. She brings it down, but the flag is up. Didn't quite hold her run, but substitute is into the game. I think if Sydney Uni can get this third goal, even so early in the second half, it would be very difficult for the Rangers to come back from that, as Juric and Sutton weren't just on the same wavelength there. Sutton was sort of staying inside in that inverted position, whereas Juric wanted her to make the run down the line. Tay stands her ground. Poppy Tay has been getting involved, and that's a good ball in as well, but Rad had wheeled around to the penalty spot instead of gambling at the back post. And that's great tracking back by Ellen Hughes. One side, another good free kick. They've looked dangerous from these sorts of positions. As in comes the delivery. Barton clears. Buttress makes a more meaningful attempt at it, but Sydney Uni still with the ball, and Harris has tried to split the defence open, was very close to doing so, but will be just the Rangers' goal kick. Chelsea Barden and Chloe Gordon. Johnson. Uni win it back. Tay has found a bit more room to work with. Poppy Tay now has the opportunity, but put it at Kristanovska. Again, that time the Rangers defence, they turned it over playing out from the back, and they just sat a little too deep on Poppy Tay. She had the time to turn, and with that took advantage, beat the first defender and opened it up onto her left foot. And since that first goal, really, Sydney Uni have come to life, playing with a lot more confidence. They were on the ropes a couple of times defensively, but They were able to ride that. As mentioned in the first half, this is a team that has scored a lot of goals in 2026, the fourth most of any team in this competition. As Hastings is trying to win possession and has done so, wants to take the throw in quickly. Wisniewski tried to flick it on. Does stay though with the Rangers. Tay. This time receiving a little deep. Van Dijk check of the shoulder. Returning the favour to Tay. Cho Treganza. Farrow. A looping, sort of awkward ball to deal with for the Rangers, but they sort it out. Adelaide Wyszynski. Zante Juric doing just enough not to foul and win it back. Sutton. The quick step overs to wriggle free of her defender. And still with Asher Sutton. Sutton has still got it. And now puts the effort on. And not for the first time tonight, Asher Sutton has looked very confident going direct at her defender. Just looking for that finish on target. I think that was just the result of running out of legs again. She picked it up deep. And so 10 minutes gone in this second half. It's still Sydney Uni that have this 2-goal buffer as they try to see out an important win to keep them as the closest contenders for the finals behind Apia. Rangers, of course, playing for something a little different. Currently at the bottom in club championship after Spirit have recently overtaken them. But Katalina Wyszynski is on the charge here on this left flank. Wyszynski still has it at her feet, is looking for that cross, but Uni are able to scramble it away before eventually lumping it up towards Charlotte Page-Johnson. Although the bounce favours Uni. Of course, they do have options still on the bench, and while the ball is out, we might run you through the benches because Sydney Uni are going to make their first change. It'll be Noor Hijazi coming on. And so it looks like it's going to be Talia Sandbrook coming off. I dare say that might be at least in part due to that sustained break that she had in the first half. It was only in the first 5 minutes, but she was able to jog it off since. And now she'll make way. And so Hijazi will come on. And this has prompted a bit of a reshuffle here from Xavier Taylor. Madison Van Dijk, who was previously playing in midfield, now goes to centre back. Rad, who was previously playing as that second striker behind Poppy Tay, is now in Van Dijk's place in midfield. And Hijazi will replace Rad towards the top of the attack. So as for the rest of the substitutes for Sydney Uni, they have Jenny Hill, backup goalkeeper Chelsea Kromek, number 23 Letitia Zech, 27 is Juliet Chu. They have Claudia Pickett and Amelia Pine as well. Meanwhile, for the Rangers, they have the backup goalkeeper, at least listed as the backup goalkeeper, although seeing her play outfield is plenty of times, is more known for that, certainly, is Claire Holder. Number 9 is Despina Vasiliadis, who scored the winner last time these two teams met in March. As Barton is going to leave this, and they'll try and leave it, but they're going to have to play awkwardly out of the back. Mostagimi got caught with the ball at her feet, and now that is going to be a penalty. As the Rangers tried to play out of their own box, and Poppy Tay pinched in, got there ahead of Mostagimi, and at full stretch trying to stop Tay from going through, had tripped her off just inside the box. And so it's going to be a penalty for Sydney Uni. And Asher Sutton has taken full ownership of this. The opportunity for Sydney Uni to open up this 3-goal lead. And it'll be on the feet of Asher Sutton. There's a few goals to her name this campaign. Total of 7 in all competitions. This is a chance to make it 8 as Sutton steps up. And Kristanovska gets the right way, but couldn't get down in time. It was placed right into the bottom corner. And Sydney Uni now lead 3-0. As Asher Sutton has goal number 8 in first grade for 2026. It has been some campaign for her. Has really put it together this year. It's her first season in first grade as well, but she's really making it count with those 8 goals. And just 18 years of age, already looking so comfortable in the top flight, has certainly deserved a goal tonight. We've seen it, especially in the second half, the willingness to go at her players and go at every defender in front of her. There's Madison Van Dyke, who's cool under pressure. And now, an interesting statistic for Sutton. She really does love playing at the Sydney Uni campus. Of her now 8 goals in the league this season, 6 of those 8 have come at this venue. And I think it's fairly clear to see why. The open expanses of this pitch certainly suit a direct winger like her. Now the task becomes very difficult for the Rangers. Mostagimi. Perhaps more importantly for Sydney Uni is that Apia are still trailing 1-0 up at Cromer. Apia's goal difference is significantly better. And now Hijazi is looking to get behind and has gotten there ahead of Barden. Sydney Uni with their eyes on a 4th maybe. Here is Cho Treganza, who has an effort. And the sting was taken out of the shot, made it easy for Kristanovska. Cho Treganza going back to the keeper. Sutton gets a chest to it and will get there behind Hastings. And it looks like Rangers will go to their bench. So it's going to be Claire Holder and Sienna Havel coming on. As the Rangers try and chase what would be a very unlikely comeback from this position. Sydney Uni have had a much improved second half. Even though they were up 2 goals going into the break, the Rangers had more than enough chances to create some trouble. But since the teams have been in the sheds, it's been very difficult for the Rangers to find some chances. But Katalina Wojcinski is getting forward here. Noor Hijazi checks the shoulder and just decides to sprint into the space ahead of her. Johnson momentarily stops her progress. There's room here for Sydney Uni as they keep moving in attack. Sutton takes it in her stride and now tries to get free and off the post and in. Asher Sutton has a brace. This second half belongs to her, and it belongs to Sydney Uni as they extend the lead out to 4. The shot was too powerful and too accurate as she finds that bottom right corner for the second time tonight, once from the spot and now from open play. And it has been some night for Sydney Uni as one of the fans just yelled out, Asher hat-trick. Be her first hat-trick of the season. This is her second brace of the year since their round 7 game against the MacArthur Rams, which I actually coincidentally called. So I've been here both times for 2 goals for Asher Sutton. She's been fairly close to untouchable on this left wing. Cho Treganza has spotted Hijazi in a bit of space, but touch was slightly heavy, bringing in Johnson. Here is Johnson, and now an opportunity maybe for Camilleri, but they just have lost out to the numbers of Sydney Uni. Sydney Uni have just completely started this second half with a real intent. And I think from the first half you could certainly see that there were gaps on the wings that they were looking to exploit, and no doubt that was what was said at the break, to try and play to what was working a bit more, and they've certainly done that. It's a good ball in as well. Holder, so Camilleri was underneath it. And Dyke with the big up and under. Cho Treganza winning the loose ball. Here is Asher Sutton. And Sydney Uni will be in no hurry to go about chasing another goal. Of course, they have had some high-scoring games this season, most notably against Spirit when they scored 6. They have scored 6 at this venue before, back in round 5 against the Stingrays in a 6-2. And they've been dispossessed here. Holder has won it back as they've played out from the back. And now they might get one here, Rangers, but it's deflected away as Camilleri. Her shot was blocked, and Sydney Uni, the coaching staff, were not happy about that. As soon as they turned it over, they immediately start barking away, not wanting to sort of play with complacency. They want to finish this one out strong. Holder to deliver. A good ball towards the penalty spot. It's headed down though, only as far as Havel. And that one snuck in, and the Rangers do have one back. Goal for Trudy Camilleri. Has worked hard tonight and was able to cut inside and open up that right foot. And now the deficit is down to just 3. There's Trudy Camilleri. Found a bit of room to work with, as Scarlett Gray couldn't get down quick enough. And now there's perhaps a slight hint of optimism in this Rangers team. I have 23 minutes to go and chase 3 goals. It's not out of the question. And Sydney Uni won't be happy with the manner in which they conceded, because the corner that goal came from was as a result of Uni turning it over, playing out from their own box. As Uni's own search for a clean sheet continues, they've been without one in 5. That'll extend to 6. Goal number 4 on the campaign for Trudy Camilleri. Noor Hijazi cutting inside, looking for some options to join her. Tries the solo effort. This will bounce down. It's allowed to bounce in the box by the Rangers as Sutton has it with her back to goal. Trying to find a way forward as they prevent the corner. Kira Hastings. I think Sydney Uni preparing a double substitution meanwhile, perhaps in response to conceding. Adelaide Wojcinski heading it forward. Not cleared by the Rangers. Harris. Juric Left the pass a little short. Havel winning it back and moving it to the left side. Now with Johnson. Trying to play Trudy Camilleri in behind. Hijazi. A little isolated on that side. Now the numbers join her. Rad. A good cross in, but too close to Kristanovska. Rad. Ball drops down for her. Looks like Juliet Chu is going to join the play very soon. Receiving some final instructions on the bench. As Catalina Wyszynski couldn't get going. And so the Rangers are going to make another sub as well. Will be Despina Vasiliadis, who scored last time these two teams met. And so Poppy Tay is going to make way for Chu. And Tay's evening comes to an end. She certainly worked very hard. Didn't pick up a goal tonight, but the contributions were certainly noticeable. As Sydney Uni wants some fresh legs, and they found Xantha Juric overlapping. Chu twisting inside. No one shutting down the deflection. Juric. Again, that early cross towards the edge of the box. They might be in with a sniff here because Sutton has continued pressing. Chu looking for the cross. Barton heads it away, but not convincing by the Rangers. Cho Treganza keeping the press up. So just under 20 minutes to go here at the Sydney University campus. It is Sydney Uni that have this advantage. 4-1. Van Dijk moving on for Farrow. Hijazi with the burst of speed. Those fresh legs proving to be useful. Full stretch from Havel to stop the attack from continuing. Now they have to worry about defending. Camilleri. Van Dijk is keeping her company. Johnson's long ball is collected. Chu does keep that in. Sutton. And now there's some confusion as to whether the ball did cross the line. It eventually did. There was shouts either way for handball. Meanwhile, it's the Rangers that take possession. Harris into Juric, and the press is starting to work a little bit for the Rangers. They've created a couple of errors from Sydney Uni in this position. So throw is launched in. Barton going back to a keeper. Mostagimi. And so if this result holds, it would be a fourth win at home of the season for Sydney Uni, improving to a home record of 4 wins, a draw and 3 losses. been certainly very good value tonight. They'll have to worry about defending, though, because Adelaide Wojcinski is causing issues as Hastings, with the speculative effort in, will be allowed to roll away. And Scarlett Gray was thinking about heading back into her box. That part was not open to her as a result of the press from Trudy Camilleri. Havel. Good pass down the line. Hastings is going to be in a good position, but that's equally good defending by Xantha Juric. Full stretch to send it out for a corner. And Claire Holder will deliver. It's almost sort of now or never territory for the Rangers. If they can get something from here, they have 15 minutes to go and chase 2 more goals. Certainly plenty of time with momentum being in their favour. Looking for something here. Holder. Another floated delivery into a good position too. There's a sea of bodies in the box. Here is Havel. It pinballs around in the area. Vasiliadis is trying to get a shot on, as is Hastings. She slips. And eventually Sydney Uni clear their lines, but it's put back into the mixer by Holder. Here is Hastings again. And Sydney Uni's defence holds true, despite plenty of attempts on goal. Mustagimi, an important interception. It keeps the ball in this half for the Rangers as Camilleri goes down under the challenge. This is a really good position for the Western City Rangers, about 25 yards out from goal. Can put in a very dangerous cross from here. Claire Holder can certainly hit them, as does Trudy Camilleri. They've got a couple of good dead ball options here, the Rangers. Looks like this will be Holders. 4 in the wall for Scarlett Gray. And they disguise the pass. Camilleri puts it back into the face of goal. And they try and poke it home. And a great save on the line, but it's eventually tapped in by Barden as the Rangers get another one back. And now with 13 minutes to go, they have halved what was initially a 4-goal deficit. It was a well-worked move from the free kick. Claire Holder, everyone had eyes on her shooting, but no one was tracking Trudy Camilleri, who put the ball into the danger area. And eventually it was Chelsea Barden who, by way of a deflection, gets the Rangers' second of the evening. And all of a sudden they're up and about. And now have certainly a bit more than just hope. And Sydney Uni are going to have to regroup here and assess how they're going to get back in it. The changes have certainly worked for the Rangers. Even despite being 4 goals down, they have not given up on this. They know that even a point could be important in club championship. It's worth 4 in first grade. Worth 4 first grade. 4 first grade, I should say. Multiplier works in that way. The draw is worth 4 points. As Trudy Camilleri is swamped with defenders. As Chloe Gordon tries to force her way through, was looking for the whistle, it wasn't coming. Chu looking for the switch. Does get over Barden's head, but Johnson recycles back to Kristanovska. It is actually Chelsea Barden's first goal for the Rangers. Hastings coming across from the Wanderers. It's Camilleri trying to force her way through. Here is Holder. A little casual with the pass, but they still have it here, the Rangers. Kira Hastings. Joe Treganza mopping that up. And John Sarukis is imploring his team to continue pressing. He knows that another goal in the next few minutes and they'll be more than a chance of equalising and possibly doing what would have been the unthinkable from being 4 goals down after 60 minutes. The game has roared into life now off the back of that second goal. And Xavier Taylor is continuing to bark out instructions to his defence. Holder chips a pass down the line, but it'll roll out of play. Cho Treganza. No one's there on the wing. Johnson tries a shot from range herself and forces the save from Scarlett Gray. It was at an awkward height, bouncing right before her. And Johnson's effort from distance forces the corner. And now the Rangers are going to throw more numbers at this again. Having scored from 2 set pieces, 1 free kick and 1 corner. They are sensing the opportunity. Just the sole defender is back for them. Basically 9 players are going to attack this corner. Holder to deliver. It's another dangerous looking delivery and get into a good position. Then the header from Mostagimi made good contact but was straight at Scarlett Gray. Now it's Hijazi's turn to give chase. Kristanovska. Johnson chests it down now with Despina Vasiliadis. And this game has had its twists and turns. For the first 20 minutes or so, Rangers were looking quite dangerous on either flank. Then they conceded 2 before half-time. And Sydney Uni carried that momentum on the other side of the break to extend the lead to 4. And now, off the back of 2 goals from set pieces, the Rangers have a puncher's chance in this game. Hijazi turns the corner on her defender and gets past Barden. Hijazi still has it back with her, and it might work out here for Xanthe Juric, bringing it onto her right. Shot was a little tame though, and Kristanovska hurriedly sends it up towards the defence. Camilleri turns in a tight space, is fighting for possession. And Dyke draws the foul, and that's welcome news for Sydney Uni. It allows them to slow things down, and the clock now becomes their friend in these latter stages of this game. Mostagimi moving it around the back here. The Rangers not quite kitchen sink time just yet. And Chloe Gordon. Back with Miriam Mostagimi. Havel is dispossessed. Juric. Chu tries to play it off Hastings, but it will be just a throw. Again, the ball being out of play is not all bad news for Sydney Uni. They send it down the line for Asher Sutton. How much is left in the tank for a player that has 2 of Sydney Uni's 4 goals tonight? And she goes into the corner and is going to play keep away with the Rangers defence. Oh, Asher Sutton, that is beautiful footwork as she dances away from one and almost put in the cross. Turned out of the tightest of spaces there. And now they might be in here, Sydney Uni. But it was a tame shot in the end. From Sarah Farrow. Again, a couple of tired legs out there for Sydney Uni. A lot of tired bodies and minds. 6 minutes to go for the Rangers to complete what would be a 4-goal comeback. They have fought back to get to this point. They fought back to give themselves a chance. And Asher Sutton might be in behind here. Instead, it's going to be Chu who has the chance to seal it for Sydney Uni. And she does. And Sydney Uni push the lead out again. 5 goals on the night. And it's a goal for the substitute off the bench for Juliet Chu. And that now might put any doubt to bed. And that is her first goal in first grade this season for Juliet Chu, with 5 on the campaign in the 23s. And that is also her first goal as an NPL women's first grade player for her career. A couple of firsts tonight, which is always good fun, seeing young players get the spotlight. And I think the Rangers defence were just caught a little too high there as Asher Sutton is fouled. And so they're going to go to the bench here. Western City Rangers. Is Isabella Preston coming on in place of Kira Hastings. And you could see the Rangers had to set their defence high, had to continue pressing. And as they took the risk, Sydney Uni exploited that space in behind. Urich winning it back. Sydney Uni might think about going for 6 here. They've seen a 6-2 at this ground before. Hughes' effort is blocked. Holder flicks it for Adelaide Wyszynski. And now Trudy Camilleri has gotten the other side of Madison Van Dyke and holds it up. But Van Dyke recovers well. As Cho Treganza keeps it away from danger. Preston wins it back though. Choose long effort up ahead, won't find feet. And now plays Hijazi into space, and Hijazi has the speed, and Chelsea Barden coming across. Had to time that perfectly. And did exactly that. That's a proper defender's challenge from Chelsea Barden. Joe Treganza now with Chu. Just that half fake to create a bit of space. And last touch off from Ostagimi. Sydney Uni have themselves another corner here. And with that result holding up at Cromer Park, that'll be more welcome news for Sydney Uni fans, knowing that this young side are still hunting for finals. Deep corner is flicked on by Harris. And it's not allowed out of play because Hijazi has taken it away from Johnson. Vasiliadis taken away from her. Another good ball in. Sutton is there. Chance for a hat-trick at full stretch. Couldn't get the head to it. Asher Sutton. Preston holds her up. Holder with Trudy Camilleri, but there is the starting debutant, Grace Cho Treganza, who stayed vigilant in midfield. Was initially partnered with Van Dyke, now Wright is alongside her. And by and large, save for that 10-minute period where the Rangers were looking alive in the second half. They have controlled the midfield quite nicely. As Farrow, quick touches between her and Hughes. Hijazi has the benefit of speed on Johnson. Noor Hijazi getting inside onto her left, but falls at a good height for Renee Kristanovska. Camilleri, maybe one last flurry perhaps from the Rangers. There's good communication between Van Dijk and Gray. Another sub is about to happen here for Sydney Uni. I'm not sure whether they'll have time to make it as we tick over into 90 minutes. Letitia Zech is waiting in the wings. And Sydney Uni are on this attack. Hughes just off the heels of Hijazi. And that not touched her back heel. She would have had green pastures ahead. There's been a real live wire of speed since coming on has Noor Hijazi, especially against this tired defence. As Mostagimi's pass is wayward, and so now that substitution will go through. In comes Letitia Zech in place of Zentha Juric. This is just Zech's third appearance on a first grade team sheet this season. Last time out was against Spirit in round 9. Hijazi has Sutton centrally and tries to put that ball in, but it takes a big deflection and it'll keep it away from Sutton as the Rangers come forward once more. Gordon and Rad. Here is Havel up ahead for Holder and Camilleri. This is actually Zech's first minutes in first grade this season. And that's a good ball in by Preston. It takes a slight touch though from Van Dijk to steer it away from the oncoming runners. Johnson puts a good ball in for Camilleri. Was looking for the side netting, trying to take it back away from the direction of Scarlett Gray. And has to watch it go wide. There's one last effort from the Rangers. It was so close to going in. Sydney Union, no hurry to get us started again. Hijazi. And so full time here at Sydney Uni. It is the hosts that do the business and are back in the winner's circle for the first time in 5 games. And most importantly, draw closer to the top 4. The gap between them and RPA Leichhardt now stands at 7. And there is a real sense of optimism around this young group that they can make a real fist of this late season finals push. 2 goals to Asher Sutton, as well as adding to her tally for the season. As Sydney Uni march on, and meanwhile for the Rangers, the wait for the win continues. As that is now 9 straight losses for the team at the foot of the ladder, and perhaps most importantly at the foot of Club Championship. And so we say goodbye from Camperdown. I've been Will Constantinides for Football New South Wales. We hope you enjoyed your NPL women's action. We'll see you back next weekend for more football.
Oh, yes, please. Have a good one. That was good one. Oh, man.